For the final inline engine I got in the most powerful Supercharged engine series is this Inline 6. This build is made in Automation's Alroma Open Beta update. This may become outdated in the future as the game continues to be updated. So for this engine build, first things first is to check on the top left portion of your screen to verify if the engine family year is set to 2020. And after you select the Inline 6, we'll be choosing the aluminum silicon heavy block material because of the ability to upbore the engine as much as possible. And scrolling over the family capacity to the bore, maximize to 180 millimeters, and for the stroke, just increase this a bit to a 89.4 millimeters to get the engine family capacity size to 13,650 cubic centimeters, which is 13.65 liters. Valve train and head design will be a dual overcam 5 valves per cylinder with an aluminum billet race head design material, with the quality setting set to a plus 15 for everything. No matter it's for the block, top end, bottom end, exhaust, fuel system, you do this for everything if you see a quality slider. And right here with the Sandbox Tech Pool, normally I would put everything at a plus 15, but finding this out not too long ago, even changing up the tech pool, this wouldn't even change the reliability, power, or none of that whatsoever compared to the older versions of Automation. So unlike my other videos, we'll keep everything as is, we'll head on over to the bottom end. So with the bottom end, like I mentioned, under variant capacity, the upborne part will be increased this by 4 more millimeters to 184 millimeters to get the true engine size of 14,263 cubic centimeters, or roughly, rounding it up, 14.3 liters. And for the materials of this engine with the crank cowl rods, pistons, and balancing mass, we'll be using billet steel for the crankshaft, forged heavy for the cowl rods and the pistons with a harmonic damper, with it set to 100 on the slider for the counterweight slider, which brings it up to about, let's see here, 126.7 pounds of the counterweight. For the compression, pretty much this here is like the Inline 5 engine, so compression will be set to a 12.5 to 1 ratio. The cam profile increases by a smidge to a 46. Springs and lifters drop it down a little bit to a 43. With the RPM limit set to 8,300 RPM with the use of VVT at all cams. And as you see with the video and everything, so it'll be a supercharged engine with the intercooler right here set to 12,100 horsepower. And it'll be a screw-based supercharger for the geometry with the control set to an advanced. And I'll manually type in for the first option the supercharger capacity to 6,730 cubic centimeters, with the gear ratio, the second box, to a 2.50 you set this to. Number 3, the supercharger tune, it'll be set up to a 35, so 10 more from the default value of 25. And the boost, of course, drop this down. It'll be set to 15.37 PSI right here. For the fuel system and pretty much everything fuel related, so it'll be a direct injection single throttle sub because we cannot do throttle per cylinder for a supercharged engine because it don't work like that. The fuel mapping, since it's not a carburetor engine, fuel mapping at a lean setting of an 18 with the lambda equals 1 area do not change this whatsoever because there's no real difference with the power or anything, but with the timing, all the way up, advance it as much as possible to 100. For the type of fuel, we're going to be using good old nitromethane NM90, which is 102 AKI, which I believe is 90% nitromethane of a fuel mixture that we got going here, with a race intake manifold of the size set to a 33, a little bit on the small side. And finally, for the exhaust and everything else in general, so for the headers, it'll be good old Tubular Racing headers, header size at a 38, with a single exhaust, no bypass valves, of an exhaust diameter of 172 millimeters, which equals to 7 inches. Or, wait. Yeah, 7 inches. I got my notes wrong. So, no cats and no mufflers. And the quality? Yeah, 7 inches is indeed correct. So, we do get the final power rating of 6,486.6 horsepower at 8,300 RPM, a torque of 4,246.7 pounds-feet of torque at 6,300 RPM. So pretty much with this engine, as you see with the stress graph, in terms of the pistons, we are practically dead with the torque stress as well as the RPM stress at 99% reliability reduction stress for both of these. However, the engine will indeed run in automation, which I'll pretty much show you in a little bit, and should do the same thing in BeamNG Drive if you were to find a car and export this thing and do it as is. So for proof that this engine will indeed run, I'll do a basic old pull test and try to find a car to fit the engine into and then throw it around a track and call this a day. So first of all, give you a pull test right now. Well, homeboy at the frickin' first quarter, it just wiped out in the damn sand pit. I guess the sound of this engine has really distracted the hell out of this AI driver that really can't drive this car for crap. So with this supercharged inline 6 engine, imagine you have a 2021 Land Rover Defender and change the vehicle's weight from pounds to horsepower. That's what you'll get for this engine. The weight of that SUV is how much power this makes. All thanks to an Americanized supercharger, making this freedom-inducing coincidence possible. So that'll do it with Automation, the car company tycoon game. And for those who are interested in this type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on any videos like this in the future. So this is TRIZE Rising Up, and signing out.